Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. That Olive Oil's Pizzeria was the best. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. These guys, I'll try to talk a little more. If you've watched our show, you know I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. You want to pan on... Chip's not here. He was going to the Pirate game, and he didn't make it. Smoking Jim Frazier is eating his piece of pizza. Zach Brenner is Googling and getting notes because now he can... we'll find out what he does.
Carving up the blade on his buckos.
You know what's nice?
The Reaper's coming, baby. The Reaper's coming.
Just so everybody knows, because if you watch our show more than once, you know what a hater is, especially young folks that are watching it, and the generation missed out on the Pirates. Well, you're going to hear a hater of the Pirates come up, even though he's been in denial for about 2 months because he felt bad, thought it was an emotional attachment I had. Let's go Buccos last night when they lost. I'll do a little prelude to it because he's already Googled it to find out if they have a mathematical chance. Yes, they do, but are they going to win the division? No. So, and he's happy, but we'll cover that. No, we're not doing a Pirate segment.
That's cool. I got what's on my mind.
Okay, you know it's only limited to 1 minute because we have new cameramen here.
Yep.
Okay. We got a lot of new guys. We got Noah on the one camera. He's a sophomore at Bethel. We got Jack. Sophomore. We got Jack on another camera. What grade are you in? 7th. We got a 7th grader.
He big for 7th grade.
Definitely. We welcome aboard. They're trying to make me look better here, and we're suffering because we missed that first opening again. I don't know how many weeks it is. But I do have a couple things before we get into it. I don't know if these guys can... I got a few things I want to put out there. The first is... Can somebody get a close-up of this? Which camera do I look at? Okay, Jack's on the camera. Can you pull a close-up? This is the Pittsburgh Passion Championship. Oh, why'd you point to Jack? Thank you. Pittsburgh Passion Championship signed edition of this photo. So it's just awesome. We had them out. Our video's going to be up. I didn't get a chance to put it up, but Dave finished the editing, so it'll be up. I got another thing to help promote here. We got the Zombie Walk here in Bethel Park. You guys should donate $10. Dress up as a zombie. You could win the best prize right now, so you won't have to work too hard on it. Both of you. There's no doubt. We even have a special category for zombies that hate the Buccos. I know one guy that could win it. But the Zombie Walk is October 24th, 4 o'clock. Children accompanied by a parent come in free, $10 for everybody else. So it'll be a great cause for our scholarship fund here in Bethel Park. That way, these new guys that are doing it, they could have an incentive to further their education on videography. So thanks a lot. Then last day I'm going to put this out, Pino's Palette. They're doing a special fundraiser. You go out and get a couple lessons on painting, learn how to paint. You can bring your own booze there and drink. Chip said it's a great time. I know other people that do it. It's right up in Lawrenceville, not far away. And $15 of everything you pay there out of your $35 that you pay for 2 hours goes to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So that's another great cause. Then we have Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Give them a call. They're our sponsor of Pittsburgh Sportsline. We just ate it. Everybody but Jack got a slice, so it pays to come early. Thanks, Noah. And call them, 412-831-1900. Give them a call and ask for Jeff. He made our pizza tonight, guys. And then Smoking Jim, this is for you. I wanted to show, no, you can't keep it.
Oh, wow.
But,
ooh, I thought I was getting a gift.
Well, you knew Deuce. You actually lived through all the statistics up in the booth with him.
Yes, sir.
Well, I was friends with him. He just passed away. He was a legend on statistics. And this is a signed copy to me.
Can't believe he's gone.
So when you think I know a lot of people, I know one last night. So may he rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
He was a great
Yes,
guy.
sir.
Definitely. A little different. Not like Z, but he was different. So we start off with what's on our mind, and we're going to do that right now. Zach Brenner, I know what's on your mind, but it's not really on your mind. So just tell us what you're going to make up about it. Go ahead.
Hey, listen, folks. I don't have to make up anything. The numbers speak for themselves, Smoking Jim Frazier. This team down on the North Shore has all the makings of a team that's going to be one and done. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. There's an old adage, and I know Chip isn't here, and I can hear the control room already, the ire from the control room. But I know these two young gentlemen right here don't remember a great Bucko winning team. But that's the old adage.
They said, who are the Buccos?
The old adage.
They know the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The old adage that they say. You know what they say, Smoking Jim? Clutch is not the same as clutch. That's what they say. The old adage. That clutch is not the same as clutch. So last night, Smoking Jim Frazier, we did the Monday night show at the Park House. The Pirates left more runners on base than that I could even remember or recall.
Mm-hmm. How many games have you watched?
10.
Okay, it's one of the most that they've had in a shutout, not in a game.
Well, there won't be any trivia tonight, folks, so I'm sure that it's great to get that. But here's the thing.
Facts are facts.
Here's the thing. Every day, and every way when I get on the job, I have to prove myself.
Yes, sir.
Those boys on the right side, on the North Shore, they have to prove themselves. One game is not enough for me.
It.
I want a series. I want to go deep, maybe go 2 series. One game is not enough. And that's not hating, that's being real, and that's the truth. And I'll tell it to anybody in this city, including the control room. And that's what's on my mind tonight, folks. One and done. One and done.
It's always a pleasure to get your facts on something that you don't really like. So that's what makes it even sweeter for you. So I appreciate that. You tied in facts because you can't deny the facts.
Nope. One and done.
And it's just unusual that I always find, I don't like to always talk over somebody's opinion, but I notice like football's one and done. I notice like basketball's one and done, but I notice a lot of angst about the Pirates one and done.
It's not enough. It's not good enough. It's not acceptable.
I don't understand it. What standard is there? We got a team that you love, which I like too, and the standard hasn't been the standard for 4 years.
I'm not comparing apples and oranges. Right now I'm speaking strictly on the fact that clutch is not clutch.
Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Oh, here it is.
you got to see Levine.
You want to keep that because you got a nice green
Yeah,
Pittsburgh
no,
Sportsline
man, I'm telling
shirt.
you, man.
Look at that.
Feels good, brother.
They're available in all neighborhoods. Just
I
contact me.
gotta pop my collar. But what's on my mind is, everybody out there knows by now, and I get a Heisman Trophy vote. And before the season, I cast my vote. I didn't want to wait till the end of the season. Anybody could do that. And my vote was an unknown guy that nobody ever heard about, quarterback Seth Russell from Baylor. Well, this past weekend, he broke the school record and threw for 6 touchdown passes. Baylor's ranked now in the top 5 in the world of college football, and he's still not rated in the top 10 in the Heisman watch, but before the season's over, he'll win that Heisman, I believe, or a national championship, one or the other. But what's on my mind is high school athletics. Last week, we gave out our first ever Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week, and this week, the Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week goes to none other than junior sensation Dwayne Murray from Steel Valley High School. Great upset against Seton LaSalle High School this weekend. Congratulations, Dwayne Murray. I won't come to Steel Valley to give you an award, but I'll send it.
No. We can make that happen, buddy. We can make that happen. Come on, you with me.
I'll send it. There you go. That's it. That's it. I went to Braddock with you, so I'll trust you in Homestead as well. And that's what's on my mind.
I like it.
Wow.
Surprised me. A stunner. Woo!
It just seems like the Sandbox boys are trying to overwhelm me here with all the love they got. But these are, Chief will tell you, odds 2 to 1 are like nothing to me, so I appreciate that. I'm used to dealing with hundreds against me, and I don't mind. but it's always nice to have you two deal in facts, which is unusual today's show. I want to mark this down. This is the last day that we'll do a show in September, the 29th. Wow. These two were factual. This is the first time that we didn't have opinions on a what's on your mind. And that's when you're allowed to have opinions on what's on your mind. So it's very unusual. So thank you, guys. And anybody watching this, you do learn a lot of these guys when they talk about these guys when they talk facts. So I've learned a couple things too. Nothing's changed. What's on my mind is I'm just happy we live in a town that we have Major League sports. We have the Penguins playing. We got the Pirates still playing meaningful games to get to that playoff game. And we have the Steelers, which is really what's on my mind, because I saw a quarterback come in who some people hate him, some people love him. And he's just a 35-year-old quarterback that has never played a full season uninjured. And he has to win some games for us. So to me, it's going to be difficult with a quarterback unless they dumb down the offense a lot more to win these games. So I'm a little bit worried. But luckily, I predicted 8-8 because I was an optimist this year. But the defense has surprised me. I have to tell you, with the first games that they've done, I'm surprised that the defense is held like they did. They won the game this past Sunday. Because without them playing defense, we couldn't have come back. I couldn't see that. So let's go Buccos, whether it's one and done or not. It's nice to have you 3 years in a row in the playoffs after a 20-year dry spell. Penguins, I'm hopeful for them that the coaches know how to play the game a little better with the players they have. I'm hopeful that the cap didn't ruin them for the next few years because of the players that they have, and we'll see playoffs in each sport that we have here. And go Pittsburgh Passion. It was nice to have you on our show last night. Respect what you do out there. And that's what's on my mind. Thanks, fellas. And now we go to one of my favorite segments, Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And this will be a short one this
Can I
week.
interrupt you 1 second?
Yes, sir.
I was nervous last night when you didn't have a notebook or any paper. But now I feel even worse when there's not a notebook, paper, or a napkin. I don't see anything to write on. I was going to give you my pen.
I never bring a notebook on Mondays, I don't think.
Well, not normally, but once in a while I do see it. But you're an honest man. So I'm going to sit back, folks, and I'll wait for this 30-second of Fiction and Fact.
Well, everybody knows a few years back, I don't know how many, 6, 7 years ago, when the All-Star game was here in the city of Pittsburgh, and I was able to walk the red carpet with A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, and that leads me to the...
That must have been some cheese in that pizza.
That leads me to my Fiction and Fact with Smoking Jim's Almanac. Hanging out with A-Rod for a little bit. He's definitely one of the all-time great baseball players. But I've always said that the guy that recently retired last year.
Since you follow baseball,
yeah, what's his name?
His name's Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. I always said that Derek Jeter was a bit, in my opinion,
I can remember.
Derek Jeter was a bit overrated, and that Derek Jeter should not be a unanimous voter in the Hall of Fame if I had a vote. And my top 5 New York Yankees at all time would have to be number 1, Babe Ruth, number 2, Mickey Mantle, number 3, Joe DiMaggio, number 4, Yogi Berra, who was one of the most underrated guys. If you look at his statistics, Yogi Berra definitely deserves to be ahead of Derek Jeter. So for Derek Jeter not to be in the top 4 all time, in my opinion, of the New York Yankees, does not deserve to be voted in unanimously into the Hall of Fame. And I would probably give a vote to A-Rod before I would Derek Jeter. And that's Fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Smoking Jim, you did so great on the facts, not knowing baseball. I'm glad I introduced you to Babe Ruth because he's still watching over the Pirates, even though he never played for him. But the one thing where you went into the fiction is you can't vote for A-Royd until he retires for 5 years.
Right.
And Jeter will be eligible before that.
Right.
And you won't overvote for
I think it was a
baseball.
recycled fiction. In fact, I believe I've heard that wives' tale before.
Yeah, but he didn't throw a top 5. He didn't have a Yankee top 5.
Yogi
He's
Bear.
learned this.
Yogi
And
Bear.
May he rest in peace.
Was he related to Dale Bear?
He was called his daddy.
His daddy. Okay, wow. It must have been
And this
Dale.
is what you learn on our show. For all the people out there, you don't have to know anything about baseball, and you can talk about whether you vote for a Hall of Fame or unanimous or not. Thank you, Smoking Jim. The facts were pretty good.
Thank you, sir.
4 out of 5's not bad. Zach Brunner, we don't have a trivia time, and I cannot take Chip's place, so we're going to go right to Z time.
Man, after that fiction and fact, I have to kind of got to reel myself back in.
Google it.
What, reel myself back
Yeah.
in? Or fiction and fact?
Yes.
That's
To both.
when I Google that, it mostly says fiction. But the facts are the facts. And tonight is a show of many facts. And Smoking Jim Frazier gave my boy Dwayne Murray the high school athlete of the week. So I will lighten up on him a little bit for that. But
If you call this lightening up, man, you didn't lighten up one bit. Go ahead. Get Z time. Go ahead.
in this Z time, folks, I'm going to keep it 100% honest with you. My colleague to my right, Olivina Talking Machine, continues to quantify me as being a hater of the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is just simply not true. I just feel that, winning 3 seasons in a row, just having a winning season after 20 abysmal ones, I mean, I'm just not ready to anoint them as being 100% back. Last night, they had the perfect chance on the perfect stage to get an edge up on the Cardinals and, have the momentum kind of swing a little bit in their favor. They dropped the ball, Smoking Jim Frazier. Like I continue to say, clutch is not clutch. And when you need in those pivotal moments, you need your big players to make big plays. And last night, all the facts in the world, they didn't drive home any runs. They gave up a great outing by half. And for as much as Chip and now Levine want to say that I don't watch the games, the reason why I don't get to watch them is because I don't pay for any cable provider or subscription. I listen to it on the radio.
I
Ask me
feel
how many
better
games
now.
that I've listened to
Now
with
I
Greg
feel
Brown.
better about
With
you.
Greg Brown.
Yeah, he's
I
a great
listen
guy.
to a lot of games on the radio. And I have a lot of people, obviously, that watch baseball and that are down there at PNC Park. And Smoking Jim Frazier, they just continue to make fundamental errors, base running fundamental errors. Last night, Polanco made a huge blunder running on a ground ball. He should have just stayed. That's an error. Base running errors or fundamentals. Outfield errors, fielding errors, fundamentals. These are things that are taught and worked on since spring training. So for as much as everybody wants to rag on me that I'm a hater, I'm not a hater. I'm just sticking to the facts. And the facts are this. This team has yet to prove that it is one of the elite. Yes, they've proven they've won games this year, but they haven't proven that they're ready to take it over the top and go to the next level. Hey, what's the worst thing that can happen? They prove me wrong? Oh, my God. I could only be so lucky. And that's all for Z Time tonight, folks.
See, I appreciate the facts, but after one game, the season was done for the Pirates. They're still there.
Clinging to it, brother. Cling to it, man. Cling
That's
to
opinion.
that ship.
And Kutch has never been clutch in any playoff. Barry Bonds, we have
We're
a history
in
of
the regular
that.
season.
But this is like playoffs, like I said last night. If you have a chance and you're in a pennant race, it's the same as a playoff because now they can't win the division. So that's a playoff. So if you're a choker in the postseason and it carries off when it's a playoff type time, I agree with you. Barry Bonds, I thought, was one of the greatest players before Clear ever.
Balco.
Well, whatever it was called. And A-Roy does the same thing, but that's all right.
Same lab.
Yeah, and a new one. But Barry Bonds couldn't hit his weight in the playoffs.
And that's true because it even carried over when he went to the Giants. He wasn't able to. And he almost got in a fight with Jeff Kent, if you remember. And Jeff Kent ended up signing with the Astros.
I recall that. So I figured since we had a little time with no Chips trivia time that I'd bring up a couple facts. I do agree. And it's nice to have my co-host throw out facts more than opinions tonight. Because the facts, they don't understand because they think they're right all the time. So, I mean, that's okay. I think I'm right all the time. But I'll tell you that they're mostly my opinion. But that's cool. And when they do choke, I tell you how it is. And I've said that all along. Whether it's Pirates, and I like the Pirates for the simple fact their 5-year plan was a 7-year plan. That I like nodding no.
Are you sold on Hurdle? Are you sold on Hurdle?
I never have been sold on Hurdle.
You think Clint Hurdle's the manager to take this team to the promised land?
Here's what you don't listen, what I've said from the beginning. Hurdle did a few things that were good. But when it comes down to pressure, I don't think he handles it well because his gut seems to be misplaced. It's basic things that we learned in Little League and Pony League and whatever that he changes up the rules and makes these decisions. Like why he keeps a pitcher in that gives up 10 runs and he takes a pitcher out, unless the guy said, I want it out, which I doubt Happ did. He gave up 1 hit, no runs. So me, I keep another inning. I got the best bullpen around. But these are little things. Now the running plays, I think spring training is where you fine-tune that. And when you go in a regular season and you still do that type of stuff, and it's the star players.
Could it be that just Polanco is just that,
No.
his baseball IQ is just not that high?
Mm-mm. How does he know how to throw people out from the outfield, but yet he overruns a base or he gets picked off? He's the guy that can throw a guy out. So you have to know that when you're running, they could do that to you. Mm-hmm. It's common sense. Mm-hmm. That's where people miss it because you get all emotional about it. And yeah, I get emotional about it. I love to see the Pirates win. And I didn't say they'd win the division. I never said that. But did they have a chance? I said last night on our show, it's playoff time. You win 3, your destiny's in your own hands. I don't know. There's like some clouds out there. That's true, but we're in the toughest division.
And wouldn't it figure that when the boys finally come on and the 5-year plan finally comes to fruition, however many years later, that the Cubs have come to life, and obviously the Cardinals are a perennial powerhouse. So now the Pirates have the potential of being tied for the second best team in the division.
Well, here's just a couple of things.
This is an open discussion right now, Smoking Jim. Join in. I can't wait.
This will be great.
Yeah, McCutchen, to lean on Zach's point, it has 0 home runs and 0 RBIs in the playoffs, so he's not clutch. But to go back,
I think we're unanimous.
But to go back to
first time ever.
To go back to a point where we weren't unanimous at is at the trade deadline, and everybody jumped on me, mainly Chip, who's not here to defend himself.
Oh, he's watching.
And what I said was at that time, and I'm proven to be right. It was in my opinion then, but it's probably a fact now. And I said that the Pirates did not do enough at the trade deadline to win the division this year. Not that they did not try, because we don't know. They may have tried to do more, but I said they didn't do enough at the trade deadline to catch the Cardinals, and they're not going to. And also, I believe that they didn't have to do anything at the trade deadline. I thought they did a little bit too much. I don't like to give up the young prospects. I think the Pirates has done a very good job grooming, these young farm system players, and I believe that in the future, if the Pirates keep this team together, and they should, that they could be the dominant team. So.
Very insightful, Smoking Jim.
Looking back on it, though, Olivine, the talking machine, because
it went over the little G's head.
Yeah, it went over mine. Because anytime Smoking Jim talks about baseball, I just shut down because he didn't even know Derek Jeter's name 10 minutes ago during his segment. So I'm sorry that I might punch out during Smoking Jim talking about baseball.
Yesterday's heroes are soon forgotten.
Yes. If you forget who Derek Jeter is, I mean, you just might be not a fan of baseball at all.
Let me just clarify the disclaimer. Smoking Jim has not been a baseball fan, nor will he ever be, because he uses things out of context. How you could, this still bugs me. This is like over 2 weeks. We take a picture because Bill likes Babe Ruth, and so do I. And he says Babe Ruth is looking over the Pirates and its fans. Well, if he is, we're going to lose. So he doesn't know that. But I was just teasing about it. Yeah, so he put the kibosh, they call it, on the Pirates. It's Smoking Jim. So, go ahead, Zach.
Discussion, Levine, though, if you look at some of the players that were available at the trade deadline, to allude to what Smoking Jim was saying, though, what we would have had to give up, though, we would have had to give up even more than what we did give up to get the couple pieces that we did. And is it really paying dividends for everybody that did? I mean, Kansas City, is doing okay. It's not like
it's hard to say.
Anybody's like running away with it with the moves that they made. Right. So maybe it was better, Smoking Jim, that they didn't do what they normally did and went out and got some bigger names that ended up being bigger busts with bigger contracts. Maybe it was good sticking to it.
One and done is always better.
Hey, listen.
No, I actually think that I disagree with Smoking Jim. Whether his opinion become fact, they did what they needed to do, and it actually shored up some things. Hap was terrible. He was hapless. He couldn't pitch. When they got him, he was terrible. Ray Searage should be the MVP of the team. He has reclamation projects. That means he makes a pitcher better on each one.
Ray Searage should be the manager.
Yeah, and Hurdle, just like with your guys, Cower, I hate to mix apples and oranges.
Watch it.
I have to say it because his clock management is now traditional with Tomlin.
Oh, Tomlin's has got to be even worse.
It made it worse, and you just see when you have the talented players, and sure he promotes them and he spit on them, and that got him away from him so he could play, and certain players. So I understand that they got away from him, and they kissed certain other players. Whether that helped or not, I don't know. But I felt they could have won at least 3 Super Bowls with the teams they had, defensive, offensive. Whatever.
Even with the quarterback play?
With the quarterback.
It seems like Neil O'Donnell owed Macaroni Tony in that Super Bowl.
Well, here's the thing that I know. If I'm truly Cower, I would have been spitting through that face guard after one interception. And he would not have thrown it no matter whether the Jersey boys owned him or not. So if Cower were truly as great as you say, he wouldn't have thrown the second interception.
Why don't we throw some facts out here?
All right, go ahead.
That'll make you guys both feel better.
All right.
Last year, Aaron Rodgers, you guys agree that Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
I do.
Most people agree with that.
Yeah.
He's no Brett Favre, but he's a great quarterback. Aaron Rodgers.
Nobody's Brett Favre.
Aaron Rodgers last year just broke Neil O'Donnell's record for the fewest interception percentage in NFL history. So, like Zach said, he had to be paid off because this is a guy that Neil O'Donnell, one thing he did not do, he didn't throw a lot of touchdowns, but he rarely threw interceptions, and he was shoveling them up.
Touchdowns. How about Kansas City didn't throw a touchdown pass in 18 straight regular season
to a wide receiver.
To a wide receiver,
yeah.
Since 2013.
That's incredible.
Insanity.
Yeah.
That they were even winning games down there in Kansas City.
Yeah.
They got torched last night by the same quarterback that Levine was just talking about. That's
MVP.
no Brett Favre, but
MVP.
There's not many Brett Favres.
That's right. That's it.
I'll take an Aaron Rodgers right now over anybody because Ben's hurt.
Okay.
I knew you'd be jumping on that.
Looking ahead, fast forward on Thursday, we have the Ravens coming to town. Obviously, the Sugg-less Ravens, and that seems to make all the difference in the world without having that beast on the defense. Obviously now we're wounded without our MVP and our quarterback. But
I like the Ravens. Thursday.
Way to go! Way to keep hope alive, Smoking Jim. You'll never hear that out of me, folks. Never. We're going down to the.
I'll give my prediction. Steelers win 9-6.
9-6. Oh, it's a field goal game.
I think Flacco's going to throw for over 400 yards and about 4 or 5 touchdowns. Yeah.
Really? What's the score going to be? Monstrous.
I think we may be able to get 17 points.
Well,
35.
I'm going to add a little insight into it that you saw what happens when you light the field on fire and artificial turf on Sunday. You get a 27-minute delay and they're out there trying to dump it in or whatever they're trying to do. The damage was done.
The shop vac.
Yeah, the damage was done.
Well, what they did is the solvent. They couldn't get that off of the turf. It was bad enough it burnt, but whatever solvent, that's not safe. Just like the fumes they're breathing, Nobody said about that. They should have evacuated the area.
Wow.
You're not supposed to be in a closed environment with toxic
that's right.
fumes.
That's a dome.
That's a dome.
But since it's a dome though, they're required by law to have so many air changes. You know what I mean, Levine? You know industrial environments. Now whether they do it or not, but they're
I
required
know, I'm
to.
still suffering.
I know Levine has all kinds of conditions, but luckily for the Steelers, Big Ben did enough, up front before he got injured. I'm still, like I said, I'm not really impressed with that offensive line, but without Marquise Pouncey anchoring the center, it is what it is.
Cody's adequate.
Yes and no. At this point, I'm really not a fan of Calvin Beachum. I feel like, you want to talk about a swinging gate right now. I mean, I don't feel like he's blocking anybody, so like Smoking Jim alluded to last night, I mean, let's give Villanueva a chance,
Best I've seen in the last 10 years. Left tackle.
Maybe he's not actually ready, or he doesn't know the playbook as well.
In my opinion, he's ready.
Smoking Jim.
I think you're going to see down in Huntsfield. Obviously, we got rain yesterday. We got a lot of rain going on right now. They're calling for more rain tomorrow. So I don't think it's, they got great, drainage down there. But I don't think the field's going to be 100% on Thursday night. And I look for it to be a low scoring. I look for it to be a low scoring game.
That helps them. 9-6.
The Steelers, and they're gonna favor heavily Smoking Jim Frazier on that run game. Le'Veon Bell, D'Angelo Williams, they better be ready.
Yeah, but will they put Williams in more than a couple plays? Because
plays the whole game.
Tomlin loves the juice, which to me, every time I hear the juice, I cringe because that's O.J. Simpson. Yeah. That's one of the most moronic things a smart guy ever did, is name a great running back after O.J. Simpson. Whether he knows it or not, I cringe every time I hear it. I hate when he calls him the juice.
I haven't
ridiculous.
heard him call him the juice because, frankly, I haven't listened to a Mike Tomlin press conference in
years. You don't want to.
Because it's the same thing. It's the same verbiage. It's the same
no, it's a
praise
little
for the other
different,
team.
but it's nothing good.
You don't get very much out of Mike Tomlin. So, but no. I look for a Steeler victory. Like I said, that defense is coming along.
I'm with Zach on this one. I'm with Zach, Smoking Jim.
What's that?
Steelers win.
We're going to win.
9-6.
I already got my money on the Ravens, so we'll see.
And
if I'm homeless.
Buddy, you've lost, in the last 3 years, I have a tally that you lost 11 homes and you won 14. So we got young gentlemen here that shouldn't even hear about betting. He's a known gambler. My thing is, if you don't bet, don't start. If you know about betting, try to do the opposite of Smoking Jim. All right? And you may have an extra house at the end of the year.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes Smoking Jim's right. And there was one time last year where I took the same thing as Smoking Jim, and we're watching the game over at Duke's Rib House.
Yeah.
And he's saying the Oregon Ducks are money. They said there's money in the bank. And then it imploded, and it was a train wreck.
Oh, was that bad?
That was one of those 11 houses he lost.
Oh,
he said it was a cold lock cinch.
Yeah.
Bet the house.
I put everything on that one.
I wondered why you were just living outside for a while in that truck. I didn't know. We're just kidding, folks. But don't bet on the Steeler game. I'm hopeful they can win just because that defense showed a few little bright spots and people dropped a couple passes, so that always helps. When you got that boo defense, that helps.
And how about in St. Louis, Heath Miller catches the ball and you hear the whole stadium go, "Hee."
Yeah.
Steeler Nation is deep. I guess the Cardinals are playing across the street and everybody went over.
And
to watch baseball.
You know what else happened? They said they're leaving town. They're going back to L.A. So the fans that they would have are pretty disgruntled. What would you think if your Steelers were leaving next year?
They were going to Washington County at one time, weren't they?
That was just a scam.
But can the city of Los Angeles really sustain a football team?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
That's known they can. It's all about politics. You get $1 billion for a stadium, you'll be fine. It heals everything. Get those luxury boxes.
Bye-bye, Rams.
Yeah, it's no doubt. They said that it's almost 100%
They're going to get a couple
sure.
teams, right? Oakland's probably going to move.
Yeah, Oakland may move back there. So yeah, they got millions of people. We only have 338,000 people living in the city of Pittsburgh.
Is that all?
That's it.
In a city.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to move back. After you survive Braddock, Why not?
He hasn't paid his taxes in Monroeville, man. He's not coming to the city.
Well, we don't want to get into Smoking Jim's personal life, whether his government name is Little Jimmy or it's Smoking Jim. Those are the only two things I've narrowed down. Well, let me go on location since we've been scattering around here and discussing stuff. We had a great time on location for our second show at the Park House. It was tough to get there. I appreciate everybody that come out, including the co-hosts and guests and fans. There was nowhere to park. There was traffic with the Pirate game and the playoff atmosphere, and it was pretty crowded. We must have had about 30 people there, about a dozen guests, and it was just a great show. We'll be back there in 2 weeks. I didn't get to announce because of all the excitement, and Devin cut us off. He was managing the clock, so when we're done, we're done. So we left. And but we will be, here's our announcement. I know we like Olive Oil's Pizzeria, but we're going to a legendary pizza shop in downtown Dormont, Campiti's Pizza. We're going to do a show next week at 7:30. I already put up the event page, so check it out. And they're going to even have some specials for us and everything else, and it'll be just a fun night there, something different. I've been eating that pizza since I was in high school. Wow. So it's a couple years ago, Smoking Jim.
Couple times. Carry the...
Well, we'll find out. So I'm lining up some guests, so we'll get that thing going, so check that out. And Bill Boyce, what happened to him? He's healed up, and he didn't send one photo out.
Wow.
He was preoccupied after the show. I don't know.
Well, he had all his models there from what I heard in Smoking Jim's opening.
World class.
Oh, no, he had all of them. And all his
models.
So you got to come to a show. Thanks, everybody, for traveling out there. This one will be a little more centrally located, unless you're from Monroeville. Then you still got to travel, or you're from Munhall, so you still make a trek.
Still got to travel.
But it's 1509 Potomac Avenue. There's free parking on the street after 6 o'clock. So we'll have a nice crowd, and it'll be our first time filming in a pizza shop. So check that out.
Well, how about some of the great guests, speaking on the guests last night, how Josh the Hitman Himes came in. That was a great interview with him and his girlfriend. I thought Levine got the best out of the both of them.
Bryn Marie, Country Rock.
Country Rock. Could.
Did you? Thank you for the compliments. And we had them both sitting up there. Go ahead.
Mike McSorley. Obviously, we touched on this several times. Mike McSorley is one of the greatest cutmen in all of the business of boxing I've ever seen, and I've been around it for the last 10 plus years, and I've never seen a guy stop as many wounds as he has in minutes. He only got he has seconds really in the corner to make things happen, and Sammy's very lucky that he has Mike McSorley in his corner. That's for sure.
Yeah, and he had two interesting fighters that are going to be coming along. Dustin and Zach. So that was a nice interview there. And of course we had the Pittsburgh Passion. We had, I can't even remember them all. Coach Adams now he's only on double secret probation. He friended me on Facebook, so I'll be able to post it to him. We had the Niedermeyer sisters. We had Rachel and Kate also, two wide receivers. So it was interesting interviews, and here they are, leaders in the league and on the team. And Kate was there for 13 years. She has 3 championship rings. So that's pretty impressive.
Wow, that is. World champion.
And you got to give a shout out to Billy Narduzzi and Bonnie and all the folks, man, Kelly, Aaron, Romeo, all the people that have migrated and followed the show from Sips to Dukes to the Park House and continue to support us. I mean, that's why I come out after working all day. I mean, I'm exhausted, and I still shower up and come out just for the people that come out and support the show. So, I just wanted to thank them.
I'm thankful, and we hit a new high. I didn't get to say it earlier, so if Jim RJ keeps watching the show, which he usually does when he's doing paperwork, we hit a high of 4,850. That's the top amount we've had in over 2 years of being on Facebook. So thank you, and we have over 340 shows with Pittsburgh Sportsline, plus probably 20, 30 other ones with special events and things. So you have to check it out. And I'll be posting last night's show probably after I get done here.
How gratifying and cool is it that to continuously be thanked by the cage fighters and the boxing community for everything that we do and put on the line for these guys. I mean, I just feel so blessed to know these guys growing up, but to continuously just watch them grow and their careers take off. I mean, it's like a great feeling personally.
Mm-hmm.
No, I enjoy it also, and Smoking Jim's been a part of boxing longer than both of us, from what I've heard. But although I did see fights in the '70s, and some of my friends were boxers, so we still don't officially know how old he is.
I didn't come out till '84. So.
We've had we know you're 84, but there were some good fights back in those days. So I could say I've been watching fights for over 40 years. So, but I never saw Smoking Jim. He might have been thinner back then. That's what I'm thinking.
What I was waiting for is Smoking Jim's report from West Virginia. It got lost in translation.
Well, no, here's one of the things. When you travel so far like he did, and he's so mysterious about things.
You got jet lag.
No, I asked him a couple direct questions, and then I heard, I'll have to tell you about it. And then I hear, like in the woods, you hear crickets. That's what I start to hear. So I didn't pressure him on it because we had a great show last night. You notice I didn't bring that up. Didn't want to challenge my man. So, but we do a lot of things out there, and what we enjoy is you're keeping people off the streets. They're doing great things, and they're actually having some success at it. You know, you got men and women that are boxing where it was unheard of before, not against each other, hopefully. But they're out there and they're learning from quality people. Because you see these guys now, like Sammy and Rod Salka, they've been out there so the next generation can see you can make it somewhere else. Just like Chris Dempsey, Cody Garbrandt, they're out there UFC fighters, and you start out MMA. I mean, imagine that.
That's amazing.
I wasn't even following. My son Drew would say, "Dad, watch this MMA," and I go, "I'm not watching that violent sport in a cage." Now I have respect for the work ethic that they do.
I love it.
And what they, they're not all violent outside of the cage, although some have some issues there, and that's like in life anyhow. But it's just nice that they come back and they appreciate what we're doing for them.
Oh, yeah, because there's not very many media outlets, including the Pittsburgh Courier, that are really covering and broadcasting all the good stuff going on in boxing and cage fighting throughout the city. I'm still waiting on the West Virginia report.
Well,
I don't even know if Ronell Green won. That's how that's great publicity.
He did. He in a very close decision. He fought an undefeated fighter and he won.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that was nice to get that little nugget out.
I had the other fighter winning, but the other fighter was very dirty.
Is it on film?
It's it's on film. Yeah, it's on film.
We'll get to hear you then someday.
Any other thoughts, Smoking Jim? The fights?
Did anybody else win that night?
Yeah. Is there any other fights?
Glenn Mitchell won first round knockout. And,
Freddie Latham?
Freddie Latham first round knockout. Yeah.
Fighting tomato cans. But I mean, that's what you'll get with world top rank or whatever that's called, world rank or whatever it is. But I tell Ronell Green this: at 130 pounds, you're lucky that Lightning Rod Salka almost inebriated himself getting down to 129 pounds last time, because that green belt you got would be gone lightning fast.
Wow.
So
Stevie
Usher, heard it first.
Stevie Usher was there.
A little.
So was Rod? Rod was at the
Rod's
fight.
going to be ranked in the top 15 in the world coming up. Dan Jay was out in Vegas during the Mayweather weekend and was talking to the president of the WBC, and that's a foregone conclusion. So hopefully, man, Lightning Rod's going to be back. He told me that he's coming back. So
he told me that
when he's
Saturday
coming back,
too.
I get a message because before
I can't wait to see it.
I was getting ready to sign on with cage fighting because there was a void with my boy doing the CrossFit in the boxing gym and not fighting anymore. So he said, "Whoa, hold on, before you go to Pinnacle, we're getting ready to come back." So I said, "All right, I'll hold off on Pinnacle."
Wow.
So, I heard about a location. I don't know if I can disclose it yet, but for his next
Whatever
fight,
held you back before?
This
is
about no holds barred with Smoking Jim Frazier. Forget fiction and fact. It's hard to get the.
But I know a question that a lot of people want to know about the Meadows. You was at the MMA
Yes.
Who was the ring card girls?
Those were they were the same ring card girls.
They're pretty girls.
One of
I
them
saw
knew you. Jim R.J. was talking to the one, and the one knew Smoking Jim Frazier exclusively.
Because you know why? He kept getting photos with him.
Well, they were the same ones from the boxing. They were the same ones from the boxing that we during Rod's fight down there last time. That we were down there for. They were the same ones. But I tell you what. It started later than it was supposed to. Levine was doing his duties with Jessica Lee and the Jazz. Smoking Jim was lost in West Virginia. And that left Little Z, who was late. And it started late, so it worked out perfectly for me. I only missed 5 minutes of the fights. And I got there in time. Jim on Jay saved the seat for me. And I tell you what, man, the prototype Milstead is a monster. And if he can't get it done in the cage, I would tell that man to put on the gloves and go box, because his hands, he got heavy hands.
Yeah, he does.
And another report from over in New Jersey, Brutal Brendan Barrett won his first boxing match. Boxing.
Wow.
He went to boxing and it was
went
brutal.
Wow.
I saw the knockout.
Well,
did you?
The gloves obviously are different, and due to his, how bad he's destroyed his hand and broken and shattered it so many times, I think maybe the cushioning in the gloves is going to, give him a little longevity, and he can make a couple more bucks off of fighting. With his height, Smoking Jim Frazier, I mean, I don't see him, making a crazy deep run at his age in the heavyweight. Look at the size of some of those guys, man.
Wow.
They're monsters. Everybody's 6'2" and above,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard. I mean, you got to hit like Mike Tyson to have that kind of reach disadvantage, and that you got to be a slugger. But
he might have saw some guys like that in West Virginia. How many fights were there in West Virginia? Do you remember?
Whole bunch.
More than 2?
Over 10.
Over 10?
Over 10.
So you had a late night. No wonder you can't remember what happened in the first couple rounds.
Yeah, most of them went the distance, too, so it was a very long night. We get out of there till after midnight. The fights didn't end till about midnight.
Really?
Well, there was a...
How was your chauffeur?
There was an interesting cage fight.
I drove.
There was an interesting cage fight at the Meadows that took place between Jeremiah Yeager and Ethan Goss. And Jeremiah comes from Erie. Ethan Goss comes from Altoona, where Smoking Jim's been known to hail from a lot of times. And I tell you what, Jeremiah probably was going to get Goss, but Goss hit him with one of those bionic fist elbows, man, and busted him open, and they had to stop the fight because he was leaking everywhere. I tell you what, it was a night where there was a lot of stoppages, man, because there was just blood all over the place. It was the bloody night on Saturday night.
What time was it done? Do you remember?
Yeah, right before 11.
Really?
Because I was back in the city by 11:30.
I was going to try to come up there, but after I waited, I was there from 5:45, and then they told me it started about 7:15, 7:30. Then they told me it wasn't starting till 8. I said, it's crazy. How do you cancel out the first hour of fights?
Well, they didn't really. They didn't have any intermissions, no breaks. They didn't really interview the fighters, the victors after the fight. So it just pretty much was like they just went, ran straight through it. But Francis Mad Dog Healy had another impressive victory. So I was just disappointed for Kama, the Death Star, that he didn't get the fight. But
when your fighter, cancels out and withdraws, what are you going to do? They tried to get him another fight, fighter, but nobody else would go in. So they did on short notice. I mean, they try to put on a good show, and it is good out there.
It was. I mean, there wasn't very many empty seats at all. For something a cage fight under a garage in a parking lot outside the Meadows. I mean, it's it is what it is. But I look forward to getting back locally to some of the local cage fights that are coming up. Pinnacle's coming up, Gladiators at Cage is coming up. So I always look forward to those kind of things.
Got a date on
October.
that?
October, and I thought November.
Yep.
Yeah, the first week or so. Yeah, so later in October, and we'll have that.
I'm chomping at the bit to bring boxing back to the city. Not at Cal U. I'm chomping to bring it back to the city, closer. To the So hopefully, let's see what Lightning Rod's talking about. I might stop by on the way back.
Well, you know what? The Meadows wants to do boxing. And they'll even do tents and everything else. I talked to them out there, so it's a ripe market.
Yeah,
I think so.
Well, they want to. It's just you got to be able to work things out.
Well, you got to have the draw. You got to put together a more quality card than the last boxing card that was put together down there. Carpensy versus Rayco. I mean, crap. I mean, what I mean? Like, how many?
He said crap.
It's not a swear word. I'm just letting the control room know.
Well, I tried to emphasize that because they try to put on the sign there, and stuff.
Okay, but it just wasn't.
They're watching Penguins.
I mean, the card that was put together down at the Console Energy Center with Sammy and Monty and versus Rod. I mean, that was.
Wow.
I mean, how many? We got as many people as we were going to get out of into the console for a boxing match. The way it was set up.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know? And it was a great fight.
Yeah, it was.
You know? And that was the fight that me and Iron Mike Tyson were talking about. You know, when Monty fought last. At the previous fight at the console. You know, when I said, hey, let's make this happen. You know, Monty Claver's, my guy, Lightning Rod. And I don't want to make fun of Mike Tyson's voice or whatever, but, he just said, I'd love to see it. So,
yeah, but the best part, he wasn't in charge of anything. Mike wasn't in charge. He was just the front man.
Hey.
Who was in charge?
That's a cool front
They
man.
had an organization. And he sort of worked them over a little bit. So that ended.
Awesome.
So that ended. Now we're into the next chapter here.
Hey, but like I said, to constantly being pulled aside and said, thank you, for everything that Pittsburgh Sportsline and yourself does, for the fighters. I mean, like I said, it's just come a long way from sweeping the floor and putting together, the ring and taking it down. That's for sure. So my next move was I was going to Pinnacle.
I
as
never
an
did
exec.
that. I never did that.
I know. Smoking Jim gets all the glory on my guts. That's all right. Hard work pays.
People falling through the ring if I put it together, bro.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't even have a ring
Jim
standing up, Smoking Jim.
When I met Smoking Jim Frazier, this is a real quick one. When I met Smoking Jim Frazier was flanked by a sweetie to the left and a sweetie to the right. That was Smoking Jim Frazier. And I ran into this guy from Pride Street by way of Keystone Oaks that was, sitting at a table, as a spectator taking it all in. And, I said to him, is Smoking Jim Frazier? He gave me the history. He got me up to speed and set me straight. And, this is where we're at today.
Yes, that's sort of the abbreviated version. I like the live version of it.
The live version was a lot more colorful. It was a lot more animated.
From everybody. Yep, that it was.
From all parts. But I'm glad that Smoking Jim ditched the sweeties for the most part on the broadcast. And,
so you say.
It's really.
So we don't know what happened in West Virginia.
I think he's down to one.
Wait,
two.
We don't know what happened in West
He
Virginia.
downsized.
He might have had sweeties all over.
One sweetie in West Virginia.
The co-host.
He never told me.
Well, I don't know how to say her name, but
Liz Abundanza.
NPC came through.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, NPC came through. Yeah, so I don't know how to say her name. You know her name better than me.
You could say it as Irene or Irene.
Yeah, Irene. Okay. Irene. Yeah.
Always great, man, when a boxing commentator brings in a woman that doesn't know anything about fighting or boxing. I mean, always
She's champion bikini fitness.
I mean, if that's the goal. If the goal is to
Hold it. Now I know why.
we figured it out. Folks. It only took 300 plus episodes to figure out the formula. Champ.
He's all about champions.
Yeah.
And he's not sexist, but it's how they look.
She brought a good perspective.
What was it?
From the bikini world.
What was it?
Hopefully she was wearing a bikini.
She looked great. Just put it that way, man. She looked great.
Wow. Did she get to interview anybody?
No, we didn't do any individual interviews. They had so many.
You do any
fights.
group interviews?
No group interviews. Just
so no interviews.
Just hardcore.
Boxing.
I'll tell you what you're going to get, folks. You're going to get a lot of knockouts that were slips. Knockdowns that were
There
slips.
was a couple slips, man.
And you're going to get one epic call that sounds like it was the greatest fight ever of all time.
There was a couple slips that should have been knockdowns. I'll give you that.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
That's for sure, man.
Well, since we'll never find out about what he said during the boxing, when will that be up so I can see it?
I can get you a DVD.
I don't want it. I want to know when it'll be on TV, like BPTV.
Maybe a minute.
Okay, well, I don't want to put anybody on the
You may
spot.
be a skeleton by the time it comes to fruition.
I don't
Look
wanna...
at that up, Smoking Jim fruition.
Well, what sports do we have to cover? We talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins.
There is the Penguins. So Smoking Jim.
They're playing in Johnstown.
There's no Yarmer Yager. There's no Brittle Brothers. So me and Al Levine are gonna have this discussion real fast.
All right.
don't know who Derek Jeter is in baseball. You're definitely sitting there saying Rocky. But you know what? Dupuy looks good. You know,
Yeah, he does.
Bounced back with a vengeance. Mata, you know, Letang. I mean,
If they stay healthy, they've been leading the league in getting injuries. Like I said before, last year, if they stay healthy, they win.
And they couldn't.
No.
We didn't
Just
win.
like this year. If they stay healthy and the coach doesn't get in the way, they'll win.
Well, I think going out there and grabbing Phil Kessel in the offseason, you know, kind of shored up a bunch of stuff. But the big question is the power play. I thought they were going to keep Sergei Gonchar around just because he's a
It's hard presence. Though. It's hard to keep a guy that's only going to play on the power play.
Well, correct. So,
yeah.
But you know, it's probably looking like it's going to be Letang. But I mean, they have firepower. There's no lack of talent over at Consol Energy Center. So the stakes are
yeah, but
high.
like you say, if a goaltender only gives up one goal and your team doesn't score anything, it's hard to even get a tie.
You're right. That's an old adage. That's an old adage for me. That's brilliant.
I caught on.
Smoke Jim.
Well, you've told me so many times.
Anything you would interject on the Penguins?
Please don't.
I love the goaltender.
He loves the goaltender. And,
Who is he?
That's very sound.
Who is the goaltender?
Smoke Jim Fraser. The goaltender is none other than Marc-Andre Fleury, number 29. The franchise, pretty much, because you know, without Marc-Andre Fleury.
Hey, the control room wants to know. Do you know the Penguins are playing now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt's cracking.
He has some fun at that.
Yeah,
Hey, by the way, we want to thank Matt Harkins, Devin Shea,
you want to thank Matt Harkins
and Chris, Silent Chris, for being in the control room. Because we've covered a lot of ground here. We just were having freewheeling discussions. So I hope you had some fun with it. We only got a couple minutes left. So you have any closing remarks, Smoking Jim? About boxing would be preferable, but if not, the Steelers.
Well, closing remarks with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very, very proud of those guys. They ought to take this opportunity now to focus in on next year. I thought with the tough schedule, the best they could have been this year was 8-8. Now with Ben going down for 4 to 6 weeks. Let's find out who you got defensively so you can get some better talent in there.
Hold it. One question to interrupt you. Mm-hmm. Can they win any games when Big Ben's not in?
Yeah, they may be able to go 1-3.
Okay. What if it's
Keep
6
this
weeks?
in mind, though, folks. The AFC North is not like the division that the Buccos are in. And
Yeah.
the Steelers are still in it, even without Big Ben, because of what's going on in Baltimore. And obviously Cleveland, the Brownies are never going to be anywhere because they have the worst franchise ever in the history of football, pretty much. Only dating back to Jim Brown was the glory days. And that's way transcends before my time.
50 years ago.
So, you know, but as long as, you know, we're in that division, we're in it because we just got to split one with Baltimore and split one with Cincy. And
Well,
beat
one
the
quick
Brownies
thing on the
twice.
Browns. Did you see how the players want Manziel to play quarterback?
I mean, you spend all that money on a first-round draft pick, Smoking Jim Fraser. You bring him in. He does exactly what, he did in college, but he can steal games. He can steal you a couple games, win you a couple games. What do? You sit him down. You go back to the concussed quarterback. I mean, this is what separates franchises and the level of franchises from elite and pitiful. Right now, Cleveland's pitiful, and I look for the Steelers to win on
It's
Thursday
the
night.
year of the Bengals.
Bengals could do it. I agree with you. We're going to have to close the show down. We want to hit this time right, and you know I'm pretty good at that. I want to thank Zach Brenner, Smoking Jim Fraser for sticking to a lot of facts. Cut the opinions down pretty good. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate all the likes. Stay Joey strong.